I've not used this before, so I'm just trying it out.
Hey man, it's been too long since we sat down and that just feels wrong. Allow me to give my head a shake, open my eyes and fix a mistake. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit a rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Hey buddy, no strangers here. These times I hold them dear. My door's open, so come on in. This was great, let's do it again. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then it'll rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit a rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly.
X gonna give it to you.
What?
We're back. What? We're back with what? We're back with the X-Men and the X-Force, and we've brought together some exceptional special guests. Almost blew it then. Special guests with us today. Wes from the Fandom Power Podcast, and our buddy Space Commander.
33% of all the beard you'll need for your internet requirements.
So I
Yeah,
saw you posted on social media, Wes, a memory or an anniversary or something recently, and it was Wes without a beard.
Or a much, much shorter beard.
Yeah, it was, and I was like, who is this imposter?
Yeah.
I was like, someone's taken over a Wes. They've kidnapped him. They're taken over his social media. There's identity theft going on, and I had no part of it. And then it was actually, I think you were with your wife at that point.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like and I was like, oh, but there's Mrs. West.
That's
So
him. What's going
yeah,
on?
what's going on here? But then I looked into your searing eyes and recognized you.
It's because you didn't hear my smoky, smooth voice.
Yeah, no, you said this before. Wes has got the voice of the internet right now. Of all the YouTube people I know, Wes is the guy.
Oh yeah.
Should be doing voiceovers.
It's funny because
Guys.
I can't drink enough water during an episode, and I'm thinking I sound like a choking frog.
No, we all yearn to be as sultry as Wes.
Listen,
Well, guys, if you want to hear more of sultry Wes's links are in the description, as well as Adam, our buddy from Go Figure. Space Commander, I feel like we put you on a special guest, Space Commander. You're part of the furniture. You're part of the clubhouse. But I couldn't believe that we haven't had you on this show yet. It didn't make any sense to us, but here you are.
Well, I'm playing catch up. I was saying to Adam the other day, I've got such a backlog of because life keeps getting in the way. You know how it is sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But I've got so many shows that I'm trying to catch up on that I've got saved in my YouTube, and one of them is you guys doing your Toy Bits show. So I've gone through the DC ones because, as you know, I'm a bit of a DC homeboy growing up.
Oh yeah.
And I'm now catching up with the episodes where you're going into Marvel and X-Men. So I'm ready to jump in.
There we go.
You can thank Adam for the DC stuff though, because I was like, let's skip it.
Yeah,
But he was having none of that.
X-Men. Let's just jump right into X-Men. But listen, there's a lineage we have to get through, my friend. We got to earn our stripes. And it's been interesting watching where Toy Biz came from and where we're at now. Look at that. Now, is that the one where the umbrella itself is a projectile, or does it have a missile?
It's the one where the whole of the front of the umbrella pops off. I think there was some concern about kids injuring themselves with the missile one, but this is a Toy Biz one. But I was saying to Zazel, I don't know if it's a variant or not, because it does have the tails on his jacket, which I think came with was it the Superpowers one?
The Kenner one, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so there was
Very interesting.
a few different, like Toy Biz, especially that first DC Batman line. They were just like, "What do we do? We want to, let's just do superpowers." And then they were like, "How do we do that well?" And so it was a whole thing. But that Penguin mold, especially, it's neat. So it did superpowers, it did Toy Biz, like it went to a different thing, and then it came back for the Dark Knight series with Batman,
Right.
and it became Danny DeVito, kind of.
Yeah, they just painted all black, didn't they?
Yeah, they just painted him black as a blue. Yeah. It's got its legs. They got their money out of it.
All right, I'm going to do the Clubhouse roll call real quick. If you want to be part of the Clubhouse roll call, all you got to do is be part of the Patreon crew or a channel member, just like Michael Mercy, Grindhead Jim, Wilhelm, Toy and Hobby, Casey Wheeler, Handsome Man, Ratface44 Reviews, David, Samuel Blaine, our mate Nate, the Retro Tinker, Cindy K, who's just got her license back, good on you, Cindy, Sonny Sundry, Jonathan Sorensen, Happy Accident, Joshua Allen, hey, it's Adam from Go Figure, our buddy Phil from Treasures for Trigger, he's the real treasure, Hans Chow kicking the door in, but he puts it right back up again, my buddy Brendan Haley from Australia, Jason Clark, a fellow Aussie as well, and Space Commander. And then our members, we got Gaz, our buddy Gaz, Beta Ray Bob, David, Samuel, Blaine, Spacey pulling double duty, Jason Stillwell, Ryan Sweeney, Keep on Collecting, Kiwi, Jojo Customs and Collection, and Cindy K is back again. That sounds like a rap song. And let's say hi to the chat real quick and then we can get into the show. We had Cutthroat Comics saying Space Commando. I think he had the song stuck in his head. Fandom Power saying, ain't no business like do the thing, press the button. Do the thing. Ain't no business like toy business. I agree. Rolando saying hello.
Like toy business.
That's what I was going for. I couldn't remember the.
I feel you.
Yeah, right. Well, thanks for correcting me on that one, Adam.
Anytime, buddy.
Good. Rolando saying hello. Skyfall saying hello, folks. And TJC, congratulations on getting the bus situation cracking along. Don't forget to say thanks to the bus driver. Hail to the bus driver, TJC. And I think Phil's here. I was just talking to Phil. Let's get busy.
Getting busy with it.
Busy.
Getting busy with it.
That's what you do.
That's what you do. Okay, we should do karaoke. No, let's not do that. I'll do it.
Karaoke
Space Commander says no.
A slight delay because of StreamYard. We'll all be singing.
Try following the bouncing ball now.
Oh man, the bouncing ball. I think the first time I saw the bouncing ball, this is another Canadian. You remember the show on TVO MathNet? It was like Dragnet. No. It was on during the middle of the day. It was like Dragnet, but it was all these two detectives that had to solve math problems, and they're like,
"What?"
Yeah, it was something. It was a trip, man.
Oh, that's TVO for you. You got to learn something.
Yeah, and then they did the bouncing ball thing for like a song during every episode.
No, don't remember that one.
We had the bouncing ball on the original Ghostbusters game for the Commodore 64.
Oh wow!
Oh yes.
They played the theme at the beginning, and the ball comes along. And,
that was a wild game because you didn't play any of the characters you knew. You were starting your own Ghostbusters franchise in your town.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that is pretty cool.
Let me just get the slideshow uploaded here.
You got a hole in your head, Adam.
I got a hole in my head. Sorry. If you see me like looking down and shifting around, our dog just got his cone off his head, and
you got like a green screen dot.
Listen, I'm doing my best here. And
how are you, Johnny?
Hold on a second.
Johnny Sorensen's dropped in. How are you, mate?
Oh man,
another AI. Yeah, another AI Space Commander song for you to listen to.
Oh dear.
Here we go.
I have got some Marvel stuff, but we can come to that later.
Oh! For someone who claims they're a DC fella, you sure are surprised me with your Marvel collection.
We don't. us DC fans don't like. We're not anti-Marvel. It's just we understand that DC is like just a little classier.
Oh, wow. How so? How so? Let me
That's
just
what
put this here.
That's what DC stands for. Dude, classy.
Dude,
Done correctly.
done correctly.
Whatever. DC's long behind us, guys. You may as well get off the bus.
Get on the bus. Spit on the bus.
Okay.
I have no idea what that's referencing.
That is a street in Toronto.
It is. You
Oh.
expect 33% more Canadian references during this meeting than ever. Just be prepared for it. It's gonna happen.
I gotta figure out how to. I'm gonna work maple syrup into this somehow.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
you got to.
yes, please.
You got to. If you don't
I
think
should have
you're Evan Lee, you're mistaken.
worn my sacks.
Your sacks, that's right.
Yeah, I should have worn those today.
Okay, 1 second. I'm just trying to find where this.
Those guys actually
Yeah,
had
we-
a successful campaign on the Canadian version of Dragon's Den.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the
right.
Sax guys. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love that show when it first came out. The fools that would be on there pitching ideas. So, did I ever tell you guys my get rich quick scheme for Dragon's Den?
I
No.
am drippingly excited that you're about to.
Yeah. So my whole thing would be because people will go there and they'll be like, "This is my revolutionary dog dish, and if you want to be part of this, company, you know, for $180,000,
For 1% of my company.
right? That's their whole thing. I want to go in there with like a decent idea with a working prototype, kind of, and be like, "Hey, for $5,000, buy my entire company.
You own it.
You own it." And then for them, $5,000 is like, well, we can take this to. They have infrastructure to be like, we know how to produce things. We know what we have, but we're just buying this guy's prototype for $5,000. I think I could do that every week. Every week I go on the show and I'm like, hey, for $5,000, here's my popcorn kernel colander. And they're like, for $5,000, we'll take that idea. And then like that's not a bad wage, $5,000 a week.
No, you're right. I don't know if that's really getting rich quick, but it's a start.
It's getting a decent salary easily, which is better than rich quick.
I've got a weekly salary idea.
And then you convince them to let you run it, and then pay you a wage.
Yeah, like why don't you just hire me, right? Come on. No, but think if you sell an idea, good, bad, or medium, for $5,000 a week, that's $20,000 a month. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Oh,
All right, I'll buy that idea off you.
That's what for sale. I'm never.
Damn it.
$1.
$1.
I'm just
All
writing
right,
this down. Popcorn colander, right? Okay.
Combine harvester.
Shed.
So a little history lesson, as we always do. That Toy Biz started as Sharon Toys in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and they had a division called Toy Biz for international sales. So if you bought a Toy Biz figure anywhere in the world, it was Toy Biz. But when in Canada, it was a Sharon Toy.
I've never seen that logo before.
It's amazing that you had.
Never ever.
Right? Well, you can see it down there in the corner of the Bob the Goon, next to the one that says Toy Biz. And it's interesting, Wes. If you had any of these Batman toys back in the day, it probably said Sharon Toys on it.
I just remember them saying, like, I remember the Toy Biz cards, and I remember the Grand Toy cards.
Mhm.
I've never seen the Sharon Toy logo before today that I recall.
That's incredible. And actually, in the UK, these were released by Tyco.
Oh, cool.
So I have a couple that have a Tyco. My Juggernaut and my Colossus both have Tyco logos on them. So that's
Wasn't that the guy that directed the Thor movies?
Yeah, Tyco with Watiti.
Tycho
He gets around.
Busy.
Exactly.
And what a great
We've seen the evolution of the Toy Biz brand and the card art all the way up to where we are now, where at this point in time we have 3 Marvel distinct toy lines out in the stores, and they are all compatible within the same universe. And that is
Hello, Andrew. How are you, buddy?
Hey, buddy. And that is exciting. And so we get into now X-Men Wave 7, which with an asterisk, just like Thunderbolts, we're going to say is the last official wave of X-Men cards on the orange card. But there's an asterisk.
I'm going to miss that.
But we're going to get to the asterisks at the end of this episode with a teaser for next week. But we're going to get into it here. Now, we've seen, and I think last week we saw that gone are the days of a full wave of an X-Men team. And here are the days where it's a deep cut, weird character selection with a few X-Men sprinkled in. When you look at the group shot at the end, you're like, yeah, this doesn't look like an X-Men line as much as it looks like a deep character cut Marvel. But this was the time where Marvel bought Toy Biz or was an owner of Toy Biz, so they could use any character they wanted without paying royalties, which is why we're seeing these deep, weird character selections that we've never seen before, because they just used the characters for free. So it was a game changer. But
how great is that Wolverine though?
Nothing better. We have not seen a better Wolverine ever. But we're going to see this guy's going to make a little bit of a comeback today, just a little bit.
Okay, cool. All right.
Can we quantify that? You mean within the Toy Biz line, right?
Wes, you can say whatever.
J-Force is here. How are you, buddy?
Hey, buddy. Because I love this era of toys, and I'm not a modern super articulate Marvel Legends guy.
Sure.
To me, this is always going to be the best Wolverine toy.
I don't know, man. I appreciate vintage toys, but if I had to name the best Wolverine toy, I might lean into the Secret Wars one. To be honest,
that's
pretty good.
That's a great toy as well. Did you see?
So, Wes?
Yeah.
I just want to ask one question, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I want to preface this whole thing by saying I don't think you're wrong.
I don't want to start crying.
However, what other Wolverine action figure can you wear its mask as a ring?
What other Marvel figure?
Any other thing? Wear its mask as its ring, particularly Wolverine.
Mask. Oh, okay. You may have a point with that. You definitely have a point with that.
The double toy situation. Yeah.
Triple toy, if you think about it.
Let's dive into X-Men Wave 7, and we're gonna just tank our way through here with the first character, which is Bonebreaker.
I almost spat my tea.
Yeah, it's what a kooky toy, if I can say this.
What's that guy doing with the bridge layer?
Yeah. Well, can I just say, I appreciate that they at least put a what looks to be a decent card art onto this thing.
Yeah.
They've just absolutely covered it up, but they still put it there anyway. It would have been funnier if it was sort of peeking over the edge. It's like, hey, I'm still here. But yeah, this is
a little more self-aware.
Yeah, I like my toys to be a little bit more self-aware.
Exactly.
You can't even. Where's the guy's name on this thing?
Yeah, it's a lot to digest on a card. What a kooky toy. I understand that this was a character in the comic books. I even as a kid, I was like, oh, I think if I buy this toy, I'm gonna lose half of them, and I'll just have
half a guy,
a legless guy, or a gunless tank. Those are the two options I could have in 6 months from now. Yeah, but I think his sculpt looks good. The upper part of his the human part of it looks great, and he's got a cool mohawk, and he is what he is. Just as cool as this kind of is, I don't think it ever appealed to me to buy it as a child or even a collector now.
As half a toy, he's got pretty decent articulation. So I'll give him that.
I'm
And
thinking if you
go ahead, Wiz.
if you lost the tank body, you'd have no shortage of replacements with your plastic Army Men collection.
It's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
He's tanked.
He's tanked.
Is he though, Phil? Is he? Is he tanked?
He is. 100%.
He's definitely tanked.
I was at I was helping a buddy in Hamilton, and I don't know if you guys know anything about Hamilton. You probably don't. Wes does. It's a unique place.
Steel Town.
Yeah, it's a. If you think about RoboCop, the first RoboCop movie, at the end scene where they're like in that industrial area, that's kind of what Hamilton looks like. That's kind of what Hamilton's about.
Nice.
And so a buddy of mine sent his computer to get fixed to a guy in Hamilton. He's like, "Hey, do you want to come pick it up with me?" And the individual there that was fixing his computer was something else. And so we didn't realize what we were getting ourselves into, but we found ourselves into this like really divey apartment, and it was just like this. A lot of surreal stuff was going on, and there was an IT guy that was fixing computers. And there's more of a story to it than that, but he was an eccentric fellow, and he said, "And if I had my way, I would drive up to Parliament, and I demand they made rent what it was in the 70s, and I would do it in a fully tracked vehicle." And so whenever I look at Bonebreaker, I can just see this crazy guy going, "And I would do it in a fully tracked vehicle," and just like half of him and half of the tank would drive up to Parliament to get things done. And I was like,
That was almost a spot-on Hans Chow impression, eh?
almost.
The headline reads, "Eccentric Hamiltonian storms Parliament on a snowmobile."
Exactly.
Fully tracked.
Yeah. It was,
So do the rockets on the back go into the mounted weapon on the front?
yeah, so that little gun there. So his action feature is that thing fires rockets, those two rockets, and that he's got 360 degrees of vision, so he can like spin all the way around when he's plugged in, and he can
Right.
at all angles. That was on the back of the package. You can attack at all angles. And I was like,
If this was a battery operated toy, that's what it would do. It would drive around
Just-
and he would just spin.
even
I love that.
Spinning around and stuff.
You know what's funny is we've given props to Toy Biz action figures in the past for being big and bulky but being the same price point. And I want to say the same thing here, but it's hard to get past that it's half a guy and then half a tank. But and maybe it's because Johnny brought it up with the Australian years. This guy, I remember him briefly in the comics. I remembered that he had an action figure enough to put him on the thumbnail. But full disclosure, I don't know any of the X-Force ones that's coming down the line for this latest wave. And I only maybe remember a couple of the ones that are coming out for the X-Men side. So I'm going to give it a rating. And I'm going to say, for what it is, for the character that it represents, for what you get for bang for your buck, I'm going to give this guy a 10 out of 10. I can't fault it on anything. It is the guy.
Yeah, no. And I would have to... I wouldn't be able to do this character any better. I'll give you that.
All right, what do you think, Spacey? What would you rate this half man, half tank?
He's kind of wacky, isn't he? He looks kind of like a photo negative of Mr. T.
The T stands for tank at this point.
I would thought he looked like Max Headroom's rebellious brother.
Yeah.
Yes, that too.
I saw recently there was some obscure range of toys, and I'm racking my brain, but it's too early in the day to remember. But there was this range of like obscure toys where they were like half man, half tank sort of thing, like this. I wish I could remember. If I remember later on, I'll put it in the comments. But
Thanks
yeah,
for bringing it up anyway. Yeah.
well, I'm just saying it's a thing. Okay, the precedent has been
Right,
set.
right.
But this guy's, it's like you say, good sculpt, crazy vehicle, cool accessories, and the sculpt isn't overdone. I'm kind of like, from Adam's perspective, the action figures I grew up with, they were more about the sculpt and just a few points of articulation, as opposed to like nowadays where they're like a bajillion points of articulation, and they just look like they're just. But so yeah, I think this guy fits into that category quite nicely. So yeah, I'd say maybe 8 or 9 out of 10, shall we say? Yeah, 8, 9.
Oh,
Let's be generous.
8 or 9.
Let's be generous.
Okay.
Call it 9.
Wes, what would you rate this fella?
I'm torn on this because I'm taking in everything that you guys are saying, and it speaks to my heart as a toy guy, because I love toys. So I think 12-year-old Wes, 12-year-old Wes would give this probably a solid 10, maybe even an 11, because I see some really cool crossplay value here. And we were talking about this earlier. Like, to me, this looks like something that the Resistance might have done in Terminator. Like,
Yeah.
I totally would have played with this guy with my Playmates Terminator toys, and I think it would have worked out pretty cool. But adult collector Wes, who is into 6-inch stuff, kind of looks at this and goes,
Well, we rank these toys as if we were back then as 12-year-olds, 10-year-olds, whatever.
This is an 11 out of 10 for the crossplay value. Yeah, for sure.
Wes, as a modern guy, as a modern man out in the town,
Yeah.
did they ever do a Marvel Legends version of Bonebreaker?
Yeah, he just got a I think might have been a no, wait, actually no, it was oh, there we go. It had a BAF not too long ago. I saw Robo from the Fwoosh do a custom of this guy.
Okay.
And I can't remember
But he did.
art that he used. And it looked great though.
Cool.
But there is a modern one out now. I like that he's a tank and he's got rockets, but he also has a handgun.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Every tank commander's got a sidearm. That's just standard issue.
Right. This guy though isn't a tank commander, he's half a tank.
Imagine if they did this premise.
Command of himself?
Not below the waist. Imagine if they'd done this with Cannonball
Yeah.
and given him the rocket propelling undercarriage as opposed to those wacky beefy legs that he did come with. And as you mentioned Terminator last week, we had an excellent representation of Wolverine, which was the Albert Android version. He had pop-off arms like the Terminator did with swappable mechanical arms and fleshy arms. I think Adam's maybe either gone to go get it or he's going to go stop his dog from going to go get it. One of those things.
No, that dog is going crazy. Yeah. Absolutely. I think this guy would be awesome if he was like a pull back and go. That'd be like another feature going on here. But I just had an idea because I think this would be a funny one to do. I think we should do, this is future planning, a Valentine's Day episode of Toy Biz.
Okay.
where we take these X-Men figures that are kooky like this and then fill out online dating profiles for them.
Oh, brilliant. All right, I'm in.
Like, I'm a modern man on the go.
Built like a tank.
Like a tank. Right? I think we just fill those out and then just put them on like a real dating profile and see what happens.
If you like a photo negative Mr. T.
I think that would be hilarious. All right, so moving on from Bonebreaker, we get to this guy here.
Yep. This is the only other one I could remember. I can't remember what the little fella on his back is, but he's a Star Jammer. One of the space guys, Spacey.
Yeah, and he's a good guy. This one for me is figure of the line, figure of the wave. I think that he looks great on shelf next to Beast because it's like the same kind of size and shape. and primary colors. But his sculpting, being a bigger figure, is incredible. I love the fact that he's got a little buddy that sits on his shoulder that you can just peg in there.
This is like when I when I met TJC. I was the little guy, and TJC was the big guy.
Spitting your wine out.
Yeah, absolutely. But this guy to me, he's got a cool tossing action feature that was meant to throw other figures around. He was designed to hold smaller X-Men figures and toss them about.
So the opposite of Colossus here with the hand.
Hey, it's a spicy meatball. This guy was a real powerhouse, and so play feature is great, sculpting is great, character selection is deep, but like he popped on the shelf, and he's got a little buddy that sits on his shoulder. I think that this is an 11 out of 10 for me. This guy.
I like that he's put a belt on. Right, he's wearing underwear and a belt. Hey, it's Buddy Gaz.
Yes. What's this?
Are you back from your? What is he? We went to go watch sports today, didn't he? Go team.
Go sports.
Go sports. Go. Is he back? Back in black?
I think he's.
Sorry, Space Commander. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what's this guy's name again?
Chode.
Who came up with that?
I thought my ears were playing up. Did he say what I think he said?
Wasn't that like the gag name from that guy from Tripping the Rift?
Oh man, I was familiar with the term chode long before I was aware of the character chode.
Yeah.
And so it's hard.
Are we sure it's not Chod? Are we sure it's not Chod?
I'm not sure of anything, but it's
Yeah.
Chode, I think, is what it,
Okay.
I think it's a definite spot, like pause there.
Okay.
Like
Well, he comes with a little tacker, doesn't he?
He comes with a little buddy there.
You got a little thing on you.
Yeah.
He's got a little thing on. Oh, sorry. I suppose I should rank this thing. It's going to be difficult now. It's no small feat to be able to. Oh, the game is. Gaz, you weirdo. He just woke up. The game is tonight. Time zones are weird. All right. So, yeah. Look, I can't fault it either. We've been a bit. And I felt this with the last episode. Is we've come to a point in Toy Biz now where we know that they can give us articulation. And I'm, like Space Commander said, we don't need it. Like, we've got it when it's appropriate. Like, Spider-Man should have all the articulation. Everyone else, I'm happy with just a couple of elbows, maybe. This guy, I think that his gimmick works for him, and it gives me, and I know this isn't too far removed from Colossus, but it gives me nostalgia for those days where it's just a simple gimmick. He does what he does. He throws a thing, and he comes with a little buddy, and that's kind of like, what we loved about G.I. Joe too, right? A little something extra. So I'm going to give this guy a 10 out of 10 too. Up in the stars, 10 out of 10.
It's funny. I didn't think
morning.
about G.I. Joe pets with those little buddy. I thought about the little buddies that came with the Ninja Turtles guys.
Oh yeah, true. That too. See? Oh, win-win.
Win-win.
All right, Wes, what are you going to give this fella?
This kind of speaks to my my limited Marvel knowledge, and so like when the figure first came up, my immediate thought was like, "Oh, it's Abomination."
Right. Yeah.
Right, and so and I know it's comic book stuff, right? So it's kind of like everything is sort of derivative of something else.
Right.
So I don't want that to detract from the figure, but it's hard because I mean I feel like I'm getting 2 for 1 here. I could buy Chode, and I have both Chode and the Abomination. So I mean there is, again, for the crossplay value, it's good, but it's also bad because the recognition just isn't there for me. So
right.
But the sculpt is great. I like the detailing on him, like the bumpiness, the wartiness.
Yeah, the reptilianness of him.
Yeah. So that's a plus. I think he's a good. I deduct a point for that peg sticking out there when the companion is off. He's an 8 out of 10.
All right. Very, very in-depth look here. Any final comments on Ode?
I also thought for a moment there I thought it was Abomination too. So yeah, like the character I'm unfamiliar with, but I remember my little brother one year. I think it was either his birthday or Christmas when we were kids. I bought him a Hulk Hogan figure, which had the hands were posed like this, and you could lift his arms up, put another figure in his arms, and throw like that. Yep. So for the nostalgia trip, this character, the vibe I'm getting, I'd give him a 9. Oh, and the fact that he decided to put on a nice new pair of underpants instead of ripped trousers like the Hulk.
Fair enough.
you think that in his home world, they all were nothing, and then the Star Crashers were like, "You're gonna be with us. You got to cover that up, buddy."
Yeah.
Fine, I'll put on.
Especially if your name's Chode.
Yeah, come on, cover it up. All right, so moving on from what I think is the top figure of the line, we come to Kylon, which is a neat name. He had double sword action. The swords fit into his back with holsters like that, and he is this guy, and he squeezes his legs together, and his arms would do double sword slashing action. So the fact that he had a squeeze your legs together Kenner style action is huge for me. I love that. That brings me back. Any figure where you squeeze their legs together and something happened was right in my wheelhouse. I'm not too familiar with at this time or even now with this character. I think he kind of looks boring, but maybe his design is just a boring design in the comic books. I don't know. It seems very basic. So, and again, like Wes said earlier about character recognition, this guy to a casual fan doesn't scream X-Men. So I don't know if I would have been drawn to pick this guy up as a kid, but the fact that he's got 2 swords and leg squeeze action gets him some extra points. So I'll give this guy a 7 for me.
That's not bad. For an X-Men figure, it makes for a pretty cool Thundercat. I'm not too familiar with
that a lot.
Yeah, Kylo. So Kylan, like I don't really know much about him either. I can only assume he's one of the Starjammers also. I like that he has somewhere to put his swords. I mean, how often does that happen?
Yeah, no, that was really cool.
Recognition aside, I hope it doesn't, but it looks like it almost has one of the Trevor Fitzroy cards in the back. Is that's going to dock him a point? Does it say Fitzroy? If it does, poor fella. Oh, and I mentioned this earlier to Adam. Last week, I got Cameron Hodge mixed up with Trevor Fitzroy, and so I got those two characters mixed up. When you got two weirdo names like Trevor and Hodge. Anyway, so I just want to retract last week's statement. I guess it's not a bad-looking toy. It's articulated well enough, if that matters. And I think in this stage of Toy Biz, it kind of did. And it's got a great callback action feature. Whether or not that meant you couldn't sit him down properly, or whether or not that meant the mechanism would break easily, don't know. It's kind of, I guess that's irrelevant. I'll give it an 8. I don't hate it.
All right, yeah. So 8s across the board so far. What are you thinking, Wes?
I'm torn on this one. Like I don't know where to look. I keep getting drawn into the body, and I get like El Dorado vibes from like Super Friends.
Right.
Like got like an Aztec thing going on, but then above the neck, it's the Monkey King. So like he's a cool looking guy. Like I think like yeah, I'm so blown away by the combination of mythos.
Right.
And
he
I think
he could have been a Stargate villain.
Well, yes. The 2 swords are cool. I give him props for the swords because then, I've got more stuff for Shatterstar to play with.
Well, a big factor for me buying action figures as a kid was how much extra stuff they came with.
Yep.
I gave my other toys.
he's just so weird and wacky that I can't fault him for that. Also, give this one Kylon gets an 8.5 for the swords.
0.5.
Nice.
Spacey, what are you doing, brother?
Again, I like the sculpt, the torso, the arms and legs. They're all sculpted really well. It's not too over the top with joints and hinges and stuff, which I quite like that. 2 swords is always better than 1. It's got a cool action feature as well. These are all good things. They're all pointing in the right direction. However, he has got a terrorist beard.
This one isn't getting monetized.
Anytime you see that beard without a tash, I get nervous. So
You should have said,
no.
a Jack Kirby beard. That would have been a better, like a New Gods beard. They all had that kind of going on. But you chose your words, and that's good.
Does he get extra points for being from space?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, but yeah, I'm not wrong though. Let's face it. So yeah, I'm gonna say 8.
All right. So 8's across the board. It's a pretty. We'd be the worst. We'd be the worst Olympic judges. We'd be doing figure skating with like 4 or 5.
Fix the beard. I would say this, Space Commander, as the one person here who doesn't even have a beard, I don't know if you get to even point out the what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Specifics.
Well, I it's funny when
Specifics.
when you guys were talking to Wes at the start of the show. I nearly mentioned that I wasn't because I thought it was showing off, but now I'm going to have to mention that when I was 16 at school at Space Academy, I grew a ZZ Top beard because the other kids said that I couldn't. Like none of the other boys in class could grow a beard, and they had no idea of the hairy heritage of my DNA. And so there I was, 16, going to school, and there's actually a year photograph somewhere. I don't have it, but there's a year photograph somewhere of all our class stood together, and me, 16, with a ZZ Top beard. And I do have my.
You had a lifetime.
Yeah, you do get your class.
Yeah, true.
The Rock Cyburns from 1998.
You had a lifetime of beard in your childhood. All right, we'll let it go.
I love that. All right, moving on from Kylon, we get...
look, go back. Show us the back end. Don't skip it. There, see? There it is.
Yeah.
Storage. Thanks.
Some good storage.
We got Raza, who was another Starjammer, and he had a weird... See how his arms look weird? His arms are weird, right?
Yeah.
That's because his gimmick was you would straighten out his metal arm, and then you would bend the elbow of his other arm, and then you'd twist the black arm, and he would fence with his other arm. It was like he fenced like Zorro. That was his action feature. So I think they call it swashbuckling sword action.
I like that.
It was a weird thing for him to be doing. But again, this is a bit of an odd looking duck. But I think seeing him with swashbuckling sword action, I might have been like, hey, maybe I'm gonna see what this swashbuckling sword action is all about.
Right.
So, yeah, I kind of against all better judgment, I kind of like this guy, and so I'm gonna give him a 9 out of 10 just for that weirdo action feature.
Well, I'll tell you this: the fact that he comes with a space title belt around his waist, that's a plus. Right. I do remember him from some of the comics as well. I like that we've now got our second swashbuckling sword in the X-Men line. Yep. First one coming from Nightcrawler. I think it looks appropriate. I think it looks like he did in the comics. I can't fault him on that. I'm trying to imagine how that swashbuckling sword action looks in real life. So I'm intrigued now, and I think that would have also intrigued me, like you said, Adam. So I'm gonna give him a 9. And the only reason I'm not giving him a 10 is because of that weird looking hand. But he also comes with a firearm, so there's that.
Well, you never know when he needs to get a stiff bottle cap off a bottle of beer, you know.
Yeah, true.
Zorro.
Bionic Zorro. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is funny.
I say that's funny because my first thought looking at this guy was like, bring Gordon to me. Like this is Ming the Merciless with a cybernetic upgrade.
Right.
And for that reason alone, I like him.
Oh yeah.
I like him a lot for that. I don't like that. I don't like the weird. It's too weird. It's too weird. I appreciate that, we had to have a gimmick and an action feature, but I don't know if that's. I just don't know if that's. Like there's a hinge joint there, is there, Adam?
Yeah.
It looks like a hinge joint.
Yeah.
So he can do like a bicep curl.
Yep.
That probably would. I think with that up would probably look better because then you could have like the sword arm out and the curl. It might be better.
Yeah.
Give him the benefit of the doubt. 7.5.
7.5.
The Ming thing counts for a lot.
Yeah, Flash Gordon's carrying this guy a lot for Wes.
Yeah.
And Zorro.
And Zorro.
Spacey.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff with this figure. The metal all down one side straight away put me in mind of the Thing, Ben Grimm from Fantastic Five, when he had that look.
Yeah.
You're right about the Ming the Merciless look, and the swashbuckling action is that's really vibing with me because you guys know I love Flash Gordon, the early black and whites from the 30s, and Robin Hood, Adventures of Robin Hood from 1937, Errol Flynn. So all that swashbuckling stuff, that's all in the right direction. I'm thinking the hair with this like scraped back like that, and then the big tail up on top. I remember when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s, there were so many cool characters who had that hairstyle, and you always thought, wow, that looks great. Look how cool this character is. But nowadays, if you saw someone like that walking down the street, you'd think, oh my God, they're off to throw a can of soup at a painting in a museum somewhere.
Fair enough. I can't argue with that.
But because of the crossover of the sort of 1930s swashbuckling action and the sci-fi look and the mechanical arm, I'm going to go for a definite 9. I would like to see this guy in action.
Yeah, I think this is one that we're definitely going to need to source out at RonCon and test the swashbuckling action.
And his ponytail's two-tone as well. I don't know if you picked up on that. The card art looks cool too.
Yeah, no, the card art looks great. Like this looks like, whether you know the character or not, it looks like that first wave of X-Men figure with that iconic card art, and this is one that fits right in that.
Yeah.
Yep. I like the hair because it's colored like the original X-Men card art.
Yeah.
I believe that's called a balayage.
This guy's upset though with
fancy.
The modern day, you got to have Riz. This guy's got Raz.
I was just thinking, actually, I've got just through there. I've got the Defenders of the Earth Flash Gordon figure from the 80s, and he's got like a dial on his back. He twists like that, and it makes his arms move. And he came with a flaming sword because in the 1970s cartoon, Flash Gordon's sword was a flame, and they actually sculpted that.
Right.
And it came with the toy. He had a handgun and the sword, and you twist the dial on his back, and his arms move. And you could have, if this guy's Ming, you could definitely have him face off with Flash in a sword fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, pick one up at RonCon and we'll get that organized.
All right. This is going to be great.
Nice. All right.
Okay, so moving on from Raza, not to be confused with Raja, the tiger from Aladdin.
Is his last name Ghoul?
Yeah, Raja Ghul. We've got
I thought so.
The most X-Men-y of the X-Men. This is long overdue. We get Rogue, She looks perfect. Her hair is like sculpted into her back, so her head can't move, but that's okay. She's got classic button on the back, uppercut action, so it's very roguish, and this figure standing next to your X-Men team is perfect in my mind. This is a 10 out of 10 no-brainer for me.
I like that she's also acting out the film clip for Rebel Yell, Billy Idol.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. She's doing the thing.
Yeah. You can also lift her other hand up.
Yeah. Okay.
Lift her
And
other hand up, and she can reenact the ending of The Breakfast Club.
yeah. True. There it is.
Oh man, I missed
J
you.
Rock a boombox.
Yeah.
Kelly LeBron vibes.
Oh yeah,
I love
you're
it.
not wrong. That bottom lip, pouty.
Perfect accessory for Gambit. Rough. Ouch. So here's the thing. The card art looks a little lackluster for me.
Okay.
It doesn't quite give me comic book vibes like the other ones did. The other ones look like they jumped off the comics and looked appropriately so. This one, it kind of looks like I don't know. It's lacking something. It doesn't. I don't feel like it's jumping out of the card at me. It's a bit flat for me, and it doesn't quite have enough rogue going on with this. Rogue needs more makeup. Is that it? I don't know. Maybe.
I was thinking that Johnny makes a good point. I actually thought that the figure needed, like, she's got like the rosy cheeks, but the figure itself has none of that.
So
and looks a little flat.
So there actually was a variant of this figure where she had eyeliner on and her eyes were outlined in black. And so actually you can see on the card variant.
Yeah, I see.
Oh yeah.
So there's it's feast or famine really.
Appropriate though to have a power uppercut punch because she was a powerhouse. They gave her the jacket. They've gone as far as to sculpt this one off and hasn't made it removable like Gambit's was. But I guess it's easier to do when it's a short jacket. But you don't often see her without the jacket on, so I'm happy for it to be part of the sculpt. I think that it's feminine enough in the sculpt as well. It doesn't look too bulky. I know that later on a couple of these action figures are going to start to be more bulk than beauty. And I will give this Rogue. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. There's something about it that doesn't quite nail it for me, but I don't hate it, so it's a 9. Yeah, maybe that's it. A little flat.
This one, though,
I hear what you're saying.
Being part of the core X-Men team in a line that's mostly Starjammers and deep cut, that gets extra points for me because I'm just like, this is what the X-Men line was. These iconic X-Men characters to me. Yeah,
but how perfect was Storm though?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying Storm wasn't great. I'm saying in this line, Rogue is a shiny gem. By God.
Okay, I'm just saying in comparison to Storm, I get that you need a Rogue for your X-Men. I know that you need that. I think this fills a hole very nicely to get Rogue into your X-Men. And doubles as a villain too, depending on which way you want to play her. I'm just saying if you look at how they nailed Storm. I mean, they used Storm how many more times before Rogue came along?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't hate it. I'm just saying. But yeah, easy repaint into Bon Jovi. All right, it's a 10 again.
Well, they did repaint this figure for Polaris, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Polaris wear a jacket?
I don't know if she did.
She does now.
Does now.
Am I being too critical if I point out how much? Maybe it's just this example, the amount of paint bleed there is on this figure, and it detracts for me. Both of them, for that matter. Maybe it's just this one. Maybe it's the blow up. I don't know. Maybe the photograph isn't as high a resolution as it for a bunch of reasons, but like, it's a good figure. It's a good representation of Rogue, and for the period of time that it came out, I don't know if you could have hoped for something better that had the play value that these have. And I mean, Zazel and I were talking about this before the show, that even today in 2024, most of these figures are easy pickups that are like super affordable. So, and they would have been in the 90s when they came out. I think for that reason that, you know, you need to have a Rogue in your, if you're a 90s X-Men fan, this is a must-have figure. She's a 9.
Yeah. Zazel, I'm going to do a thing here for a quick second. And just to lend a little information here. Can you share that screen?
I can. Yep.
So there's Polaris.
Look at that.
Repaint.
Way better.
Way better.
Love it. She's magnetic. Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
She's got a machine gun. That makes sense.
I love they've turned the molded headband into a painted-on cowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, smart.
Now, Toy Biz did a good job repainting. So there you go.
That's pretty good.
We're going into the. I don't know. I just feel like she needs something. I just feel like she needs something more. You know what I mean? More. Anyway, Space Commander, what do you think?
Where do I begin? Okay, so Captain Marvel is that guy who says Shazam. Okay, all other Captain Marvels are fake. However, this gal here, she does that. She stole the lunch of the fake Captain Marvel, so that puts her, forward in my book.
Right, good.
She's very feminine. But also, not that the two should detract from each other. Of course not. She's feminine and powerful. She's a very powerful woman, and yet she does.
And
so
funny.
True. She's very powerful and feminine without looking like an Algerian boxer. No need to look like that. I like the
and smart.
Yeah, smart. I like the jacket. I miss those kind of crop jackets that people used to wear. And but the main thing I think with Rogue is also it cracks me up that whenever anyone types Rogue, their spell checker tries to change it to Rouge.
Yep.
So when those fake, there was so many people when those fake Star Wars films came out, everyone was talking about that film Rouge 1. So, I thought that was funny.
Ruined.
Exactly. But the main thing is, gentlemen, if you close your eyes and you hear the phrase Rogue from X-Men, there's an image that immediately pops into your mind. You know the one. And for that reason, I'm going to give her a 9 out of 10.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm talking about.
This is a work phone.
I know.
All right.
They did the makeup better on the Polaris version of this figure, though.
Yeah, I actually think, as much as I like this Rogue figure, and again, I'm a big Gambit fan, so Gambit and Rogue, the Polaris figure, I think, uses this sculpt better. I think that it was like I don't know. Good job, Toy Biz. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And then moving on from Rogue, we come to this fella.
That's a Imperial Royal Guard.
Yeah.
Androids.
Yep.
Yeah, he was like correct me if I'm wrong, he was a henchman from Magneto, like he was one of Magneto's minions.
Yeah, part of the Acolyte, I believe. Not to be Space Commander. Now I've said Acolyte, but I don't mean anything to do with Star Wars. All right, relax, calm down. I know, Wes, you enjoyed the Acolyte. This is a very different Acolyte in the form of Sanyaka. I think the whip was able to drain people's powers quite like Omega Red. Okay. But I could be wrong. I should Google it. I'm going to Google his powers were. But you go ahead.
So I think the design in the comic book, it was real sleek, and I think this figure, like if you look at his figure next to his card art, it's almost like an exact replication because he's in that very basic pose. So I don't think this figure I think is done great. for the character, I think the character might be a bit of an odd selection. So
Right.
as a toy, this is going to give me an 8 because again, I want to be able to walk in the store and be like, oh, I know this character. I want this toy. I don't know if that would have happened with this guy for 10-year-old Adam.
Well, Google says it's from Sri Lanka. That's pretty cool. I can't think of any other Sri Lankan superheroes, so that's pretty cool. Even if this isn't a hero, he siphons energy, so there's that. Okay, fair enough. Look, I think that this is a pretty decent looking toy. I think that it's menacing enough. I think that it shows a character of some strength, but not overly bulky. I think it's appropriately a villain to be menaced by, even if you weren't familiar with this character from the X-Men. I don't think that you would have any issues having this guy go up against Wolverine or Gambit or whoever else if you didn't already have a bad guy in your collection. Whip, snap, and action. That's a great classic toy action feature. So you know what? He looks like the Thing and he does the thing. So I'm going to give him a 10.
All right.
Man, this guy gives me. I'm surprised he said he's Sri Lankan because the hood, especially on the card art, gives me Middle Eastern vibes.
Mm.
But then I see the whip, and every time I see, other than Indiana Jones, guys with whips, like I could easily envision this guy driving a bunch of slaves, right? So I think
True.
I've been leaning into this crossplay thing, and I think that's where the value in this figure is because I could see my Stargate guys going up against this guy to rescue some people.
Yeah.
So for that reason, and he's got a really, really good sci-fi look. I mean, this isn't a space guy though, is he? He's an Earthbound.
No, well, I mean, Magneto was up in space on his asteroid.
So, on the asteroid, yeah. I mean, he definitely has a really cool sci-fi look. Like he looks like he could be a part of Buzz Lightyear's family. Dad's coloration there.
So
yeah, true.
Zurg.
Yeah, Zurg's colors.
Yeah.
He's okay. He's okay. And I mean, I joked about the Imperial Guard thing, but it's definitely there. So I could probably fold him into my Star Wars toys as well, especially those '90s everybody's buff Star Wars toys. And for that,
True.
I think he's got a whip. That's pretty cool. I give him a 9 out of 10.
I think
What are you thinking, buddy?
with this character, he does look like the card art character. Looks like he does in the comic book, which is good. However, the mask is really cool, but the sort of the big muscle bound figure, we've seen that before with Masters of the Universe and the superpowers. And also the whip action, that's kind of like Tigra from Thundercats. So I'm kind of thinking, is there anything new to this that we haven't seen before? So although it does look really good, he matches up with the artwork. I would only give him an 8, but I say give him a mohawk, paint him silver, make him a Cylon from Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
then he's
yes.
a 10.
Yes. Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. He does look
How
like
are you,
that
buddy?
Shredmasters.
Yeah.
Cylon, now that you say that, yeah.
You know what he looks like to me the most? He looks like a villain from Superman the Animated Series.
Oh, yeah.
True.
The Brainiac look kind of looks just like that.
I'm trying to figure out who is in the card behind him. It looks a bit like is it Cyber? Who had the adamantium skin?
I think
his
that
name
was
was Cyber,
Trevor
maybe.
Fitzroy.
No, get Fitzroy out of here.
Every character now is Trevor Fitzroy. All right.
So see you,
moving on-
G-Force.
See you, buddy. Moving on from this fella, we got
Ooh!
Logan here in street clothes. It says Wolverine in street clothes. That's what the name of the toy is. He's a bit buff for me. He looks like he's really hitting the gym.
He's just
but
dressed for Canadian winter.
He is.
That's
Look
right.
Look at those thighs. He did not skip leg day. But to have, especially as a kid, to have a Wolverine in street clothes like that was
Yes.
yes for me. Again, you look at this guy on a card, and you're like, "There's an X-Men toy." Yes, I get it. It's not a weird space version. It's not a robot version. It's just Wolverine that you could use, and he often fought with the team in this outfit. No big deal.
Yeah.
And for those that love the original Brown one, it's the return of the J-Hook pop-out Wolverine claws.
Yes.
So there's a throwback to those original claws. I think that the actual claws are the same mold used in the first figure.
They do look like it, yeah.
Yeah, because they actually look a little bit small for these fists. Because this figure is bigger than that first figure. So again, the claw proportions are a little off. He's a little bit bulky, but he's Wolverine, man, and he's an iconic look. And this is the one Wolverine in this line that I still have yet to find loose or carded. So even for that, it's a little bit like is attractive to me. So this guy gets a 10 out of 10 for me, and I'm biased and I'm okay with that. But 10 out of 10 for Street Clothes Wolverine.
Is that
So
the same,
I think
same head sculpt as the other one?
No, it's a brand new head sculpt.
I thought so. I'd say this one's better, to be honest.
now I'm not saying you're wrong, Wes, but
Yep.
no, it's all good. It's all good. So I love that it's street tough. Got to get tough. Calling it Wolverine street clothes is a little silly. They should just call it Wolverine and then Logan in brackets or something. He doesn't need a Harley. He's got a Wolverine bike with his own face in it.
That's true.
I don't think that I don't think he's too bulky. I think the jacket's just puffy. He's got a puffy jacket to keep himself warm. I like the fact that it looks like the original claws from the first Wolverine. That dynamic pose, whoosh, street tough. Whoosh. I love it. I love the card art. It's the you're showing the back end of Wolverine too, so you know all the Logan lovers out there get a good back end look of Logan. And he wore this in the cartoon, if not as much as his outfit from the Wolverine outfit, the X-Men outfit. He wore the street clothes like you see it nearly every episode.
Right.
So this is a 10 out of 10. It would have been cool if on the bubble it had little slash marks across it. That would have been great.
Yeah.
Anyway, 10 out of 10 for me.
It's Wolverine, and I think for that period, the height of the X craze. I mean, now, and we've seen that again. Wolverine is like he's like the Iron Man of the X-Men. He's sort of the central character, or has been in so much. And I think every time you get an opportunity to add a Wolverine variant, that's a win.
Yeah.
Also, like the jeans and the cowboy boots, this is Wolverine as played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. The way they hug his thighs. So I like that. I'm gonna give Logan street tough. Street clothes Wolverine gets a 10 out of 10.
All right, 10s across the board so far. Spacey, what's your unique take?
I just love the thought that this guy's surname is Street Clothes.
Mystery solved.
Of the Boston Street Clothes.
So anyway, I when you guys asked me to come on and said that we're now focusing on the X-Men sort of series of Toy Biz, I did kind of wonder, what will I be able to contribute, because of I'm not really an X-Men guy. When X-Men was kind of at its height, I was off on the Teen Titans trip, for DC. But having said that, when I was a little kid, I was reading Secret Wars and Alpha Flight.
Oh yes.
And this gentleman here, I always think of him as being Weapon X, because in Alpha Flight he was Weapon X, and he's a big part of the Alpha Flight story. And there's a lot of crossover with X-Men there. So I thought, well, I'll approach it from that angle then. And what I find cool about this figure here is that it is 100% accurate to the Alpha Flight comic, or to the X-Men comic as well, I imagine.
Look
I
at
mean,
Oh,
that.
hang on, I'm gonna solo you real quick. How do I do that?
We push the button.
Here we go. Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Oh, that looks good.
There he is.
It's got the jacket, the hair, the jeans, the cowboy boots, the snicked.
Okay,
Yeah.
sucker. The only way to get to the lady is through me.
Oh, that's a great
So it's
voiceover.
Loved it.
so it's like a perfect representation. So yeah, like I said, as a kid growing up, he was always Weapon X to me. So that's how this happened. When they brought
Right.
out this
Oh, hang
figure.
on.
Oh,
Let me just do the thing.
all, so all the other toys of Logan that had come out at this point were all called like Wolverine or Logan. So when they did, I know it's like an alternate universe version, but because it was Weapon X, I thought, yeah, this is, you know, the name is right. This is the character I sort of grew up with. So I
Look at that.
picked up a couple of these guys.
Love
And
that.
Nice.
And then I also found this guy. So Weapon X.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the best figure of the whole line for me.
So yeah, I will. So because of the Alpha Flight connection and the Weapon X.
Wrong one.
There you go. Yeah, because of the Alpha Flight connection and the Weapon X connection, and the fact that his birth certificate says Wolverine street clothes, I'm going to give this guy 10.
All right. 10 out of 10. This is figure of the line so far.
So far.
That's brilliant. All right. Well, moving on. There's the Jean-Claude Van Damme side of it.
Is he going to do that dance?
Right up against the jukebox.
We get into X-Force and we get Black Tom. Black Tom, who we get here.
Hmm.
He's got,
Angry chef.
great, gross Guinness Book of World Records fingernails, and he shoots a bolt out of his arm. He's got one elbow, one not elbow. A real basic-looking out-of-work magician. Look to him.
Yeah.
He's somewhere just dropping cards in front of people, trying to do close-up magic. This is a weird toy. This is a weird toy in my mind.
Yeah. He looks like he wiped and missed.
Oh!
Yikes. Yikes. So again, a deep cut figure. This isn't look exciting to me as a toy. This guy gets a 6 for me.
6. That's generous. I was gonna give it a 5 just because it's like I don't like it or hate it. It's sort of like insignificant. I'm trying to remember who he was related to. It was
related to
probably
Black Peter.
yeah. I'm thinking maybe he was related to Banshee, maybe, but I know that he definitely hung out with Juggernaut a lot. But I'm actually gonna give it a 4 because he just even the torso itself just looks a bit odd.
Yeah.
It doesn't look right. In fact, it doesn't even look like it's supposed to be his torso. Like he's got this sculpt coming up the center, leading off to the sides, where it kind of looks like either Colossus or Nightcrawler, and it's sort of weird that they would bother sculpting that definition in the side. It just feels like it's missing paint apps or something. So I'm going to give it a 4. It's, I don't know, like even as I'm looking at it and giving it 4s, I'm starting to think 3s and 2s. So I'm gonna just get out of this conversation while it's still a 4.
I don't want to dogpile
Yeah.
on Black Tom, but this character is just so. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Black Tom. I do know that when I was still in the toy business and I was selling these, I know that he sat on the peg for a long, long, long time. So for that reason, I give him $2.99.
I still don't want it.
Peg warmer.
That's right.
I think if even an uninspiring character can earn some affection from you, if it's a character that you really enjoy, and it's a character that you've got a lot of affinity for. But I don't know anything about this guy, and the figure is uninspiring. So I'm afraid I'm gonna have to drop him right down there. And I mean, I like the Musketeer facial hair, but
I was going to say that he's a bit Robin Hood in the face.
yeah,
Right.
but
Musketeerish.
it's gonna have to be a 7 for this guy. I'm afraid. Sorry.
7.
Sorry, 7? -7 maybe? What are you on about?
Well, I think the lowest rating I've given so far is 8. So
Okay, all right.
I don't want to make Black Tom feel bad by giving him like a 2 or something. So I'll give him a 7.
Okay. So I have a theory, folks. My theory is that when Toy Biz started, I remember I readjust. I feel like Doctor Strange opening my third eye. Oh man. When Toy Biz started with the DC line, they were like, "What's Kenner doing? Let's do what Kenner's doing." And then slowly they became their own thing. And by this time, they were like really, really doing their own thing and unapologetically just being Toy Biz and having success at it. They're 7 waves deep into X-Men. They're doing their own thing. And I think one of the executives was like, "Hey, I wonder what they're doing at Toy Biz or at Kenner right now." And so they looked. And at this point in time, Kenner was doing the Dark Knight stuff, all the Batman variants and all the,
Yeah.
the Arctic Batman and whatnot. And so what they said, let's try that. And they came up with Deep Sea Cable.
What? No, come on. Even Gaz is going to have an issue with this cable. Oh, Gaz. Gaz, I need you.
He's got a diving knife. He's got flippers, and he's got a harpoon gun.
Why?
And he's got neon green accessories. Now,
What happened?
I'm no scientist, but I think if you're going to pick someone to go into underwater combat, doing a guy who's half metal wouldn't be the best choice.
Right. Does he have a helmet?
No.
It's got big lungs.
Deep sea cable. He only goes down once. I love that they keep adding additions like what they did with Wolverine, and now a 5th edition cable. Where's he gonna go? He comes from the future. He lives in outer space. Now he's gone underwater. What did they X-Force? What did they X-Force you into? I'm sorry, Adam. Did you give this a rating yet?
No, I didn't. It's a reused cable head sculpt, so it looks like cable.
Yeah.
I hate that this exists. Cable's had a good run so far. I hate that this exists. And if you were, and here's what I'm going to give it, the rating I'm going to give it. Because if you were like, hey, I went to my friend's house, he's playing with the X-Force figures, he's got this cool cable figure. Mom, I want a cable figure for my birthday.
This is the one.
And then this is the one you get. Like, that's a sad. And then at that point in time, if you go back and you see old stock, and you're like, oh, there's the good cable. Mom will be like, no, you already have a cable. I'm not buying you another cable. So to me, this is a 0. 0 for this figure. Get it out of the line. What's it doing here?
The card itself is trying to make you believe that he has some sort of clear apparatus around his mouth. Never mind the rest of his head, which, depending on how deep of the sea he's going to go, that might implode. His arm, just because you've got a robot arm doesn't mean you can't put a sleeve on it, right? I mean, it's got to be... he can still have a sleeve. Where is the seal? But I don't know, man. I thought before I had to zoom in a little bit to see what was going on with the card. I thought he was drowning, and all of those bubbles were him trying to hold his breath. I thought he was drowning, but I saw they had like a little thing here. So I guess if you cut out a bit of the bubble, you could probably give him something. I mean, even Space Cable had a helmet, right?
Right.
Lilith said they liked the color of it, but get out of here. Psychic powers. Maybe that's what that clear thing is. He's put a psychic bubble around his head. This is madness. This is the first time I actually think. And correct me if I'm wrong here. And we've seen a lot of Wolverines up until this point, but I think this is the first. I think this is the first time they've gone full gimmick. That they're like, forget the comic, forget everything, put him in the sea. He doesn't even have enough pouches for Cable. Like, he doesn't have no pouches. But he doesn't even have a big gun. He's got a harpoon. For who?
Yeah,
who's he harpooning?
Whale.
Like a plasma gun.
Whale blubber.
But even a plasma gun works underwater. And what is he doing under there? Who's he going after?
I'm gonna get you, Namor.
He gets damn you, the original mutant of the sea. All right, now, okay. Now, if it's going against Namor, and it's mutant against mutant, I'm going to give it a 1 for the head sculpt. But, yeah, it's 1 for the head. Whoa, hang on. 1 for the head sculpt. He's going to need a bigger boat.
It's hunting Roy Scheider. Oh, dear.
I just want to know, when did a road pig become a toxo viper?
Oh, man. Those are both G.I. Joe characters, Space Commander.
Alternatively, that one time that you don't remember when Cable joined the G.I. Joes as an eco warrior.
Right.
And those are both like wildly offensive to me, because by that time G.I. Joe had strayed so far from its origins that this just makes me angry looking at it.
Yeah.
It looks like he's wearing gel sandals.
Yeah, really. The only thing that would make that better is if they were clear, like little jellies.
Yeah.
It's so crazy though that this figure would fit right in line with the Batman figures of the time, and right in line with like the Eco Wars of the time, and is so out of place in this X-Men line. Like, it's so wildly offensive in the middle of this line.
I'm trying to rationalize this as some kind of like spacesuit, but I can't do it.
No.
Even his spacesuit had a dome.
Now the flippers are removable, so you can take the flippers off. So if you wanted to just pretend,
those are getting lost.
If you wanted to pretend that he just had a green suit, you could do that. But yeah, this is ouchy.
I suddenly feel bad for Black Tom that I gave him $2.99. $1.99 for this Cable. Clearance, 99 cents.
99 cents. He couldn't give it away. He couldn't give it away.
I like that Gaz has put the apostrophe in the exact right place.
Yeah.
We're learning.
I like that Gaz is going to get 4 of these for Christmas.
Gaz, would you rather a Hydra Viper or this? All right, Space Commander, break it down for us. Tell us why this is a 7.
Oh man, well, I like, as Adam says, I like the mechanical arm until you realise this character is supposed to be underwater. I like the fluorescent colours. It reminds me of being a kid back in the 80s. Now you see, I'm struggling to find things to like about it. Now that I've mentioned those two things, I think Zayas was right. I think on the card art they're trying to redeem it by sort of hinting that there's some kind of mask, a breathing mask over his mouth, but the toy totally doesn't have it. It's like you remember Doctor Who before they ruined it?
Yeah.
The famous image of Tom Baker as the Doctor. What's the most iconic item of clothing that the Tom Baker Doctor Who wore?
Scarf.
Exactly right. So when Dapol made the range of Doctor Who figures, what was the one item of clothing they left out of the Tom Baker Doctor Who action figure? The the scarf, right?
Right.
So here we have deep sea cable, and he's got no breathing gear, no mask, no nothing. It's like that should be the very first thing they think of putting in the pack with him. He's supposed to be underwater, give him breathing gear. So that sucks.
Yep.
In the I got a couple of things in the good column. I don't know if you guys ever saw these, but back in the 80s there was this range of figures called Exchanges, and I like the logo.
Hang on a sec.
Oh, it's all right, mate. I'm just showing off the logo. I like the logo. The X-Force logo reminds me of this. And in fact, they had a spin-off range from Exchanges called X-Force. But they're kind of like, you know, before there was Masters of the Universe Origins, there were these guys. You could pull them completely apart. The arms and legs would come off, all the accessories would come off, and you could interchange them, make up your own characters. So the X-Force logo, I quite like that. Also, the fact that it says Deep Sea Cable, where Mrs. Space Commander and I often go up to the coast and stay there when we're down on planet Earth visiting the folks. We go and stay on the coast, and they've got this huge wind farm out to sea, and it's connected to the mainland by deep sea cables. So I'll give him a point for that. So yeah, he gets points for the bright colors, the mechanical arm, the Exchanges like logo, and deep sea cable. But unfortunately, there's too much about this character that just sucks. So I'm going to give him also a low 7.
A low 7.
A 7 on the lower scale. Yeah.
Well, when I would get 70% on a test in public school, I'd be like, "Yeah, this is celebratory," and you're giving this guy a 7. Unbelievable.
Well, see, I was taught in British schools, and if you got 70%, you were going to be in detention for the rest of your life. So...
Okay. I just wanted to go home without a fail. He killed Jaws 2. All right, moving on from Gaz's Christmas present, we come to is Comcast is this guy's name, and he comes with a little hoverboard and some Napoleon Dynamite boots.
I love it.
And he's just kind of a kooky, weird X-Force villain. But
Isn't
man,
there
it looks like he does in the comic books. That hoverboard would be a fun little gimmick. He comes with a gun. After seeing Deep Sea Cable, this guy's like an 8 for me.
Yeah. I don't know who this is,
Comcast.
but thanks. I don't know who this is, but it's Comcast. Bilingual card, so that's good news. But he comes with a vehicle.
Yep.
He comes with a vehicle. He comes with a firearm. He's I love the black and silver. That just pops. I don't know. I mean, if I was in the store and I could get an underwater cable that's going to drown within a few minutes, or this guy I don't know but comes with a hovercraft, I'm going with the guy I don't know. My suspicion is that he's probably linked with who was that guy? Kane, maybe Kane and Deadpool and all of those sort of characters, and less about the X-Force groups. How did he look in the code book? I don't know. Never seen him before, but he was probably maybe part of that sort of guys. Those guys, you know, the 6-pack and stuff like that. Probably part of that stuff. Who knows? But I like him. I'm gonna give him a 9.2, Gaz. You're right. He has a satchel. You know what? I'm gonna give him a 10. I'm gonna give him a benefit of the doubt because I don't know who this character is. I'm gonna give him a 10 though because this is just a fun toy.
And he kind of looks like from DC, like the Monitor and Anti-Monitor, that kind of like big,
The big shoulder look.
Yeah, kind of like otherworldly look. I love it.
Help me out here.
I'm gonna look
guys.
him up.
Help me out with this one because there's a Spawn character that looks just like this guy,
Yeah.
and I can't think of his name, but that's immediately what I think of, and he's stolen Orion's hover thing.
Yeah, he really looks Jack Kirby-ish. Right?
Yeah. I really like that. I love the flying disc thing. It speaks to me that way. Like like the New Gods thing, and also Masters of the Universe 87 movie. And I like that.
Yeah.
does have a set.
Lilith is making a great point. He does kind of look like a Batman the Animated Series villain as well.
I think that's in the way.
Oh, that's true.
The head sculpt and that the paintwork there really lends itself to that. The big boots, moon boots, man.
Yeah,
that's me when I was 9. I like that. He's cool. He looks cool. I think he would look great on a shelf. I would definitely scoop that the hovercraft for some of my other toys. So that's cool. I'm gonna give what's this guy's name?
Comcast.
I can't find anything about him on Google.
He's on brand with his little communication thing. Anyway, I give him. He's an 8 out of 10.
Beautiful.
I don't know the character, so I'm looking just at the sculpt. I love the moon boots. When,
a high 7.
You're right. So when when you're a little kid, when you're born and you become aware of the world around you, you just think that that's the way the world has always been. You don't realize that what you know at that point is only transitory, and things that you grow up loving and caring about are going to vanish after a while. You don't know that. So when I was a kid, I thought we would all be wearing moon boots for our lives,
forever.
Exactly. But sadly, they went away. But this guy's bringing them back. So this guy, Napoleon Dynamite. So the moon boots are a plus. The little vehicle he's on, the first thing I thought of when I saw that was the 1980 Flash Gordon movie.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Love that. So that is a major plus. The very second thing I thought about was the 1987 Masters of the Universe movie with the flying skateboards. And I also thought of Highlander 2, which I quite enjoy. I'm the only one.
You're that fan.
Yeah, I'm that guy. See, I saw Highlander 2 before I saw Highlander 1, and I couldn't understand why everyone hated it. I quite liked it with all the sci-fi trappings, the laser guns and the flying skateboards. Then I saw Highlander 1 and I went, oh, right, now I get why everyone hates it. But by then I was already in love with it. So, I still like Highlander 2. But this guy, I think he looks cool. He's got the cool, the big shoulder pad look. Again, a very 80s thing there, the big shoulder pad look. He's got the Indiana Jones satchel before they ruined Indiana Jones. So as I say, I don't really know the character, but in terms of a sheer good-looking toy, good sculpt, not overdone with articulation, and he's got cool accessories. So I'm going to give this guy a... Heck, let's go for it and give him a 10.
All right. I was going to say, if you give Underwater Cable a 7, you better give this guy a 10.
See, I just want to know, if you agree with me or not. Going back to the Highlander thing, Comcast looks like he'd be right at home in that awful animated series that came out.
Yes.
Oh, Quentin MacLeod. Quentin MacLeod of the Clan Dundee. Yeah, there was like a real bizarre cast of villains.
I feel like the animated series really leaned into the sci-fi thing from Highlander 2. We're not from Earth anymore. We're from, was it Zeist or something? Yeah.
Or they're from the future, depending on which version of that movie.
Yeah, if you get the Renegade cut.
The Renegade cut.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're gonna be premiering the Roncon cut of that movie that I'm gonna be editing together for Roncon here. It's gonna be 30 minutes long, but it'll be great. Moving on from Comcast, boys, we get to Kill Spree, and here's something. There's a guy.
There's a happy-looking individual.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Apocalypse a little bit with that weird mouth, and he's just kind of a kooky looking villain here. But the orange the yellow and the purple kind of pop for me. I love his blades that are all over him. I like that he's kind of got that weird cable hair thing going on. I don't know why I like this character so much. I kind of dig him. I think that if I'm looking for a generic bad guy from X-Men to beat up this guy, fits that role really well. And I love that they color coded the cards for villains and heroes back in the day. So if you didn't know, you knew whether it was a good guy or a bad guy. And so this guy for me gets an 8. Like, he's not a stand-up character, but I think he's fun.
So, how does the slashing blade arm function work? Do you know?
It's a just lift his arms up and they spring forward kind of situation.
Okay. Yep. I don't hate that. Yeah, if I don't have coffee in the morning, I'm definitely this guy. I think the side of the leg blades are an interesting choice. I don't remember this guy from the comics either, and it's just weird
At
because I was
all.
reading all the comics. He looks
Sorry, I just read the chat.
right. What color are they, Spacey? What color are your moon boots?
Oh, the moon boots. I don't mind telling you, they're a nice silvery blue. With
Oh,
space
good
sequin.
stuff. with a blade on the side or no?
Oh, no blade. You don't want to pierce your spacesuit.
Do you worry about a helmet, or is that just for deep sea diving?
I was with a space helmet when I'm going EVA, but whenever Cable comes up and visit, he just takes a really big gulp of air before he goes through the airlock. What can I tell you?
Yeah, it does look a bit like Reboot. Now that you mention it, Johnny. So I think if somebody asked me who this was, I would say that it's some sort of Apocalypse variant. He kind of also has a snake-like quality to him, so I would have also, if I just saw the action figure, thought it was part of the Snake Man or whatever, Snake Serpent Society.
Right.
He would be a good villain to go up against the guy with the swashbuckling, though. You know, if you ever have sword play. Diet Apocalypse, yeah. Diet Apocalypse. He kind of has a Predator vibe to him too. I kind of like him. I dig him. Purple's a great color. I don't know about purple and yellow together, but this guy's making it happen. I don't know. I feel strongly about giving him an 8 for some reason. Although I can't think of anything that I don't like about it. But I'm going to give him an 8.
It's tough to know where this is coming from. I like that. Talking about the purple, like it strikes me as like going back to like early comic books where like all the good guys wear reds and blues, and all the bad guys wear purples and greens, and in this case yellow. So for that, like it's instantly recognizable. This is a villain. There's no mistaking that. So he's okay that way. But like Adam, you made a point about Toy Biz taking a look at what everybody else is doing, and I see that in this character as well. Like there's in that what Legends of Batman line, there's a couple Batman that have like giant arm blades that remind me of this. So it's derivative in a bad way for me. And then that hair is just like, I don't know if this is just like insensitive in 2024. But it strikes me as a choice that I would not make now. Mind you, no, not even 12-year-old me likes this. I'm sorry.
What about the Wolverine?
So hard.
What about the card in the back? It's Wolverine versus Sabretooth. Does that give it any points at all? It comes with a little playing card.
The trading
card
that we can barely see. That does give it a point. I hate trading cards, by the way. Never liked trading cards. They just were never my thing. But again, there's play value here. He looks good. He looks imposing. I definitely could see him. He's definitely getting his ass kicked by anybody that I put up against him. He's just so yeah. He's just so horrible looking. $1.99. Yeah, Captain Planet. That's perfect. He does look like a Captain Planet villain. Ugh.
Yep, I see what you guys are saying. You know, it's got a touch of Apocalypse about him, a touch of Predator about him, a touch of a Captain Planet villain about him. But I got to tell you, from the moment he popped up on the screen, bearing in mind I don't really know the character, I'm just going from what I'm looking at right now. As soon as he popped up on the screen, I immediately thought of the Goombas from the 1993 Super Mario film. And although I've been trying to stay focused and concentrate on what you guys are saying about this, but during the whole time you guys have been talking about this character, I've just had going round and round in my head, Goomba.
Goomba.
Goomba. Goomba. Goomba.
Unbelievable.
Damn it. Yeah.
I was going to give him a 7, but in deference to Adam, I'll give him an 8. Goomba.
That's all I can see now.
Goomba.
All right, moving on from the Goomba here.
Goomba.
Thank you for that, Facey. Now we can't never unsee that.
Goomba. Hey, you changed the slide.
We got Slayback. And so
I know him from way back.
he's got stretchy arms that are biomechanical. Not quite as good as the arms that were with Random. I get that it was the design from the comic books, but this just looks like a lazy custom painted. Someone painted this. It's just like the colors are just like real basic and slapped on there. I don't know.
Adam,
this like a
you're
boring
not gonna
movie.
fool me. You're not gonna fool me. I know you've just grabbed an image from the end of RoboCop where the guys got spilled with all of that radioactive waste. Nice try, buddy. Nice try. Where's the real Slayback?
Yeah, no, this is him. This figure just.
What?
This looks lazy to me, and it's not a character that I would be desiring. No one's going to be like, hey, yeah, I really want this character to be in the line. I don't think anyway. So this gets a 5 for me.
I find this guy quite striking. I don't mean to go out of turn, but my immediate thought is, this guy's going to pad out my Toxic Crusader collection.
Yeah.
And for that,
Or Captain Planet again.
Yeah, that's true as well. I'm okay with this one. I'm better with this one than I was with the insensitive hair guy.
Okay.
So it's like a 5, maybe a 5, maybe a 6.
Okay.
This looks like they took a Slaughter's Marauders Sergeant Slaughter and left it out in the middle of the hottest part of the day, and it melted to the sidewalk. Shout out to my boy Sarge. However, I'm not really familiar with Slayback, but as a toy, it's garbage. Hot garbage. Hot radioactive waste garbage.
Yes,
Extended
sir.
biomechanical arms. Yuck. The face. Yuck. It looks like. No, I got nothing now. Just we're out of here with a. What card is in the back? Let me have a closer look. Does he get a point for the card in the back? I can't really tell. So nah, I wouldn't even.
Card.
Fitzroy, -1 for Slayback. -1. I'm gonna give it a low 7. -1. He gets 0. Even the card art's not that great. It's
Yeah.
Hello.
agreed.
Okie doke. This guy. He gets an extra point for having his own song, Kentucky Slayback. I'm going to give him an extra point because I like the Ghostbusters type action with the arms. You know, he looks like a Ghostbusters figure. So if he fitted in with either real Ghostbusters or Filmation original Ghostbusters, I think he would fit in really well. But as he's supposed to be an X-Men character, I'll have to screw him fairly low, I'm afraid. So
Fairly low, like an 8.
I was going to give him a 7, but with those Ghostbuster arms, I'll give him an 8.
Fairly low. An 8.
You know this isn't out of 100, right?
I've been given 9s and 10s to the real primo figures. I don't want this guy to feel bad about, you know.
Oh, he needs to feel bad about his lameness.
Okay.
Space Commander lives in a Toy Story universe where all the toys have feelings.
That's right. So we've got Warpath version 2 here.
No neck.
He's hit the gym, and he wanted to go for those He-Man body proportions. I wasn't a big fan of the first Warpath figure. I'm less of a fan of this one. I think that this is where we start getting into the oversized, for the sake of being oversized figures. And I understand Warpath was a bit bulkier than his first figure, but I don't know. This one to me just is a bit of a miss. So I'll give him, his sculpting's good, but again, it's not a desirable figure for me, especially if I already have the first Warpath. But I'll give this one, just disappointing. I'll give him a low 7.
We got a new ranking system. Hey, Adam, you're out of your gourd, mate. This is a brilliant Warpath figure. The first figure was more like Thunderbird, in my opinion. Those giant shoulder pads on the first version with the holes in them to put what in? I don't know, his gun? Was ridiculous. I don't know. No, I'm not saying you're wrong, Adam. But this Warpath, I didn't even know this one existed. If I had this one in my collection, I would be so happy. I think that he is appropriately bulked out. Probably the only X-Force character that is appropriately bulked out. Unfortunately, when he's next to characters like Rictor, Cannonball, even Shatterstar, he's probably comparable in size with those guys, right? Whereas his original release was too thin in comparison to those other guys. I think that if the other guys were sculpted to be more appropriate and not so bulky, that this would have been the perfect one to go with them. I give this guy, I'm giving him an 11 out of 10. This guy is fantastic. Love it.
I love your agreement. Then we'd both be wrong.
Nah, this is great. And a fantastic card art too.
Yeah, the card art's great.
And a great action pose. Yeah, it looks great. And I think if you truly look at the sculpt, you'll see that the neck isn't as bad as you think it is. I like it.
Well, I'm looking at the neck, and it is as bad as it looks. Yes. I'm sorry, it's awful. But he's instantly recognizable. The costume looks like the card art. So you have to give him points for that.
Yeah.
God, second edition on the card. Like, second edition means new and improved, and I don't know if it's new. I don't know if it's improved. Right. But it is. If I didn't have a Warpath and I wanted one for my collection, and this one came up for under $10, I would buy it. So I think as an action figure, he's okay. He's not great, but he's okay.
Right.
And I would instantly replace him when the next one came out that was better than this. So this version of Warpath gets a 6.5.
There you go.
So is this the gentleman who died in the first story, or is this the brother of the gentleman who died in the first story?
The brother, yeah.
Ah, right, okay. Well, I dig the Ram Man proportions, as you guys know. When I was Ram Man was my first and favorite Masters of the Universe figure when I was a kid. I dig the Ram Man proportions. I also dig the Native American rock star haircut. Reminds me of myself in my younger years. And
oh yes.
He's got like the axe hand like Ram Man has.
Yeah.
So you could fit an accessory in there. I like that. So I'm getting kind of cool nostalgic vibes from this character. He looks like he'd be a fan of the Washington Sports Ball team. So yeah, purely for the cool sort of nostalgic vibes, I'm going to give him a 9.
9. All right. So like a team divided on Warpath there. Well, here's one we can all agree on, folks. Extreme. Yeah, and more than words to describe this fella.
He doesn't look like he's part of the band.
He doesn't look like he's part of the band. but I think Rachel's gonna love this guy because, correct me if I'm wrong, he was a Weapon X Canadian situation going on there with Wolverine, and that's kind of where he gets his origins from. I like the head sculpt with the 2 braids coming down. I like that he's not super bulky. He's got some weapons there for slashing around. Yeah, I think if you're looking for just kind of another guy in your team of super soldiers, this guy fits the bill. He looks all right. I'm gonna give him an 8.
I wonder if this might give you an extra point or two. So Extreme, otherwise known as Adam X, was I remember the annual where he came out of. I later found out that they wanted to turn him into one of the Summers brothers. They dropped that idea, but he was originally envisioned to be one of the Summers. So he's going to be Adam Summers, a brother to Cyclops and Havoc. I don't know what he's doing these days. I hope he's okay. Reach out if you are still out there and doing well. We'd love to hear from you, Adam X. But Extreme, being that I only really know him from the annual, he does look like this. He's got a goatee that could only rival Teenage Space Commander. He's got 2 braids instead of the 1 Jedi braid, so that makes him double Jedi. The color on him, like an off grey brown, is a bit weird.
Right.
But he looks enough like the comic book character that if you were into Adam X, then you would probably really, really love this character. And so for that, I'm going to give him an 8.
Yeah. And the Lilith is correct. I am biased because he's Canadian. 100%.
I don't know anything.
Is he
about this.
Canadian?
I believe
I don't
so.
know. I don't know.
I'm going to look it up.
Which is less than I know about this character. But there is a way to salvage this character, and I mean, what it strikes me immediately, and I quite like this character, and he's going to get a high score for me. Going back to that crossplay thing that I've been trying to sort of work into it. You put a set of wings on this guy, and that is a new member of the Steel Clan in Gargoyles.
Yes.
And he's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
This guy is going up against Goliath, and in fact, he's probably trying to usurp David Xanatos right now. And for that, Extreme gets an 11 out of 10.
I love that you went full gargoyles on me.
Oh my God, he's great! Like the sinister, the visage is perfect. He's totally a Gargoyles guy. He's not an X-Men character.
Yeah, absolutely. How great was Gargoyles?
So great that we need a movie.
Yeah, we did. With the same voice cast.
While they're all still alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy is a solid figure. I don't know much about him, but again, I like the hair, and I particularly like the way he's remembered to put trousers on underneath his chaps. So that's a solid 8.
A solid 8. You gave Underwater Cable a low 7. And you gave Extreme a solid 8.
That's right.
I love it.
8 is a good score, and 7 is not so good.
No
Exactly.
good. It's rubbish.
But don't tell Josh Brolin that. I don't want to upset him.
So Gaz agrees with the 8. If he had the backward ball cap, he'd be a 10. I forgot he had the backward cap. That's great. Supposed to be a Summers, but born in the Shia Empire. So he's what does that mean? If the Summers are American and he was born in the Shia Empire, is he how?
He's Shire
Where's
American.
the Canadian part? Shia, yeah.
So I don't know if he was
Um,
Canadian, but he was part of the Canadian X-Force team thing.
Roger that.
Anyways, but moving on here, here's our lineup, and again, this is where I think we really see the holes in my head. This is where we see the holes in the line. It used to be the beginning of this X-Men journey where you the group shots at the end, and you're like, there is a group of X-Men, and when you do this group shot, you're like, well, there's a group of misfits with a couple of
Plastic.
characters in the middle. And
Looks like a box of crayons.
does how much does lame Cable stand out in this group shot?
Wow.
I've seen a lot of lame.
Yeah.
I think it's what's sad is that I'm seeing a lot of great comic book characters like Warpath, Logan, Rogue, Chode, Bonebreaker, but then you've got
Goomba.
just the
Goomba.
yeah.
Goomba. 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 Goomba.
Exactly. What a
Yeah, not a great showing as a group in this episode. But Zazel, moving forward,
Yeah.
we thought we were done with the orange carded X-Men because we're at the end of the X-Men basic series. But what does every X-Men incarnation have to do? Every version of X-Men, whether it's comics, movies, TV, toys, what do they have to do?
What do they have to do? They got to go to space.
Yep, but why would they go to space? What would be the best reason for X-Men to go to space?
Phoenix Saga.
The next line of figures is the Phoenix Saga.
Nice.
And so what happened, we're going to learn this next week, is that the Phoenix Saga was released on two kinds of cards. It was released on the orange cards and the new cards. So there's the transition line of the Phoenix Saga.
Okay. I'm interested. I love the name. That'd be a tremendous last name if anyone wanted to pick that one out. But yeah, Phoenix Saga. I'm pumped. I'm pumped for that. Adam's frozen.
I'm frozen.
Can you still hear us, Adam?
I can still hear you.
I can see.
You guys still hear me?
We can hear you, but you're doing this. Like you can't.
You're a dog
I'm
trying to
doing the
speak
up.
Hulk Hogan got a I am a real Canadian.
How are you, JLS? Hey, JLS. Now that you've jumped in, can you confirm if Extreme was Canadian? I'm going to take it back in the slides a second, Adam. Was this guy Canadian? We're fighting over it. No, we're not fighting, but we're not fighting, but we're wondering.
Oh man, he's from Brooklyn and he lives in a castle on top of a skyscraper.
Oh.
But the Phoenix Saga.
I can't let it go.
So give me a sneak peek. Is this going to bring out that Jean Grey figure that they've repainted into like 30 other female characters?
That might be a thing we'd see, and we might see it repainted in this wave twice.
Okay, interesting. Is there any other?
Red. For sure, there'll be a Dark Phoenix in that.
So there's
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's some interesting choices in this line coming up, but I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised.
I would love to be pleasantly surprised as opposed to the surprises that we got today.
It's going to be so fun to just army build those deep sea cables for guys.
Oh man! So the Phoenix Saga was such a huge event. Like, it was a huge comic book event. I don't even think they knew how huge it was going to be. And then it was a huge cartoon event. I think that while they strayed a little in the cartoon, that they still nailed the essence of the Phoenix Saga.
Yeah.
The movie, not so much.
Well, they did it twice in the movies, and it was terrible both times.
Yeah, I heard that on the second, apparently I think it was the same producer that made it the first time round was so disappointed with the way it came out that he pushed to do it again years later. And then what happened was this happened right when Disney bought 20th Century Fox, which is a nightmare because that means that Disney's now got their hands on Predator and Alien and cool stuff like that. God damn. Anyway, so they bought apparently they bought Fox as this film was in production, and Disney they wanted to make it much more like the original comic book, and there was going to be this huge, outer space battle, and it was going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
And then apparently Disney came along and said, "Oh, wait a minute, we're making this god awful fake Captain Marvel movie, and your film is too similar to our film. So we want you to reshoot the ending." Okay, well, what are we going to do instead of this epic space battle? Why don't you have a couple of people fighting on a train? Are you sure? Yeah, it'll be a big hit. Put a few people fighting on a train. What about the space battle? No, don't worry about the space battle. A couple of people fighting on a train. It'll be brilliant. You'll make loads.
Worked for Spider-Man. Yeah.
Well, Spider-Man it would, but this is the X-Men we're talking about, and of course it just sank without a trace.
Yeah.
It's not a great film. Either, you know what? I prefer the X-Men 3 though, out of the two, only because watching Hugh Jackman as Wolverine slowly edging his way towards Jean Grey and having the skin blasted off of him and revealing his adamantium chest and ribs, I think that would look pretty cool. And that's about it.
I hear he has a huge Ackman.
I give that joke a 7.
A low 7. That's a low
7.
Yeah.
A low 7.
So Adam, it looks like the consensus is that he wasn't Canadian, which is fine by me because I only need one Adam that's Canadian, and we have him in our collection. But yeah, what's it? Live action Gargoyles movie shout out to Keith David. When is that ever going to happen? When's that He-Man movie coming?
It's at Amazon with MGM now. It's not at Netflix anymore.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Yeah.
I mean, Netflix has sort of dropped the ball lately, anyway, so that's fine.
Very good, guys. My internet is getting real choppy here, so I'm gonna bow out. But this
No
has been,
shit. Can you say that again?
This has been a blast, and we'll talk to you guys all soon.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate you putting all of this together for us. We'll be back soon with another Marvel Toy Biz. Thanks to my guests, Wes from the Fandom Power Podcast. Link is in the description. Adam, who puts all these slides together for us. He's taken off and taken his slides with him. His links are also in the description too. Please do. I'll do the thing. You know which thing I should have had it teed up. When you do go and check out the links in the description, make sure to
check it out one time, won't you?
And I couldn't do the show without Adam. Adam puts a lot of effort into all the slides and stuff, and all the research that he puts into this stuff. You know, we joke around, Adam and I, but I have a huge respect for my friend Adam for taking time out of his busy day to put together a show on this channel that I get to just sit here and enjoy looking at some pictures. Wes, I hope you enjoyed going through these Marvel characters.
I just hope that it wasn't too detracting having me wax poetic about crossplay value.
No, I love that you were putting dollar value on it. I thought that was a great spin.
Yeah, I feel like that is a solid rating system no matter what you're talking about.
Well, I'm in love with it so much that I think next week I might start ranking them by how much retail value I would give them. So I think I'm gonna do that. And I'll ask Adam, because I don't do slides that well. I might ask Adam if he put together a couple of price stickers.
Nice.
No, that's asking too much. I won't do that. I'll just do the voice part of it. I'm not going to request that he does extra work. He already does so much. Let's not be greedy. Spacey, how did you find this stream? Probably because I sent you the link.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, I was a little bit lost, but yeah, I think you guys made me feel very welcome, and you know, we went through the stuff I did know, and you taught me stuff that I didn't know. So yeah.
Well, you know what they say.
Because knowing is half the battle.
Space Commando.
What a handsome guy.
He's got some great sideburns. Is it in Australian dollars? That's a good question. We'll make it Australian dollars. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate it. Is Adam an Alpha Fight Club? So next week it sounds like we're doing the Phoenix Saga, which is going to be great. I believe after the Phoenix Saga, we're going to take a look back at some of the X-Men figures through the line so far. We're going to pick our favorite from the first wave, and we're going to go through each subsequent wave and see if they can continue to make it through the list without being dropped off by or replaced by a successor. So I'm deciding to pick Wolverine, the original Wolverine that came out, and see if he holds up as we go through the line. Wes, I think you'll find...
Oh, that's a bold choice.
Yeah, I think you'll find that is a bold choice. And you would probably knock him off pretty early. I think Adam's got a safe bet because he's choosing Nightcrawler to go through to see how far he'll get off before being knocked a peg. So we'll see how we go. Adam will work out the logistics of that. And it is pronounced Dollery Doos. Wes has got a great show. I'll tell you what, Battle Royale. That's right, Gaz. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Gaz and I are a huge fan of the Fandom Power podcast. Very huge fan. And we, not only are we fans of the shows, but we are a fan of the people behind the show.
Thank you
and
very
we
much.
are forever grateful. Gaz will agree with me on this one. Forever grateful to be able to call you guys our friends. And always happy to have you here hanging out at the clubhouse. And I will say this. Gaz has never let it down or allowed me to forget that time that I slept in and missed the bloody stream over on the Power podcast. I feel so bad about that.
It's
but
okay.
do check out
made
Wes.
up for it.
Yeah, we've more than made up for it. So do check out Wes directly after the stream. It's the weekend. What else you got to do? Go check out his stuff. It's good stuff. The sultry tones of Wes and his buddies Andy
Andy and Hank on Sundays. Yep.
and Hank. Andy and Hank. Space Commander, it's been too long, buddy. I don't know what's going on, but we need to get you onto another incoming transmission. How dare you go on holiday and enjoy the seaside is all I'm saying. You know?
Well, every now and then I have to come down to planet Earth and experience Earth gravity because of living in the zero G or low gravity environment. Your bones get more brittle, so I have to come down.
Yeah.
And you know, if I'm going to come down to planet Earth, what better place than at the seaside?
That's true. All right. With that, Wes, do you want to plug anything that's coming up this weekend or this week so that people can tune in?
Yeah, depending on what time zone you're in. I am in the Eastern time zone here in Canada. Tomorrow night, we will be continuing on our review series, Tales from the Moon of Fandor, as we look back at the 39-year-old Ewoks animated series. Tomorrow we're talking about episode number 8, I believe. It is Sunstar versus Shadowstone. There's a ton of lore in this episode, which I've been really looking forward to chewing on. So that's tomorrow night live at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Pre-ruined stores. When I was a kid, my brothers and I, we would play Star Wars, and sometimes we would specifically play Ewoks, and we'd all play a character, and we would build forts and climb trees. And don't get me started on what Disney have done. But this is pre-ruined Star Wars. Go and check this out. There's the Ewoks show. What a great show for kids, and it inspired kids to go outside and play and climb trees and do all the stuff that kids are supposed to do instead of sitting staring at a piece of glass all day.
Yeah, I agree. And Gaz has thrown it in there. Sentiments. My sentiments exactly. Fandom Power Podcast. Great show. If you haven't watched, please check Wes and his buddies out. Please go check them out. Speaking of buddies to go check out, Heroic Nonsense has finally woken up. Good morning. Heroic Nonsense has done a tremendous review on Sergeant Slaughter, the Mad Marauders version. So go check out his channel. I did do if you check out my community post, you should see that I shared it there. Check out Heroic Nonsense and that review. He was nice enough to invite me on to help out with that one. I know one or two things about the Sarge, so I was happy to jump on there and do that too. So do check that one out. I'll try and catch the Sunday night for you as Monday morning for me. So I'm going to try and check that out live while I'm making my morning coffee before I have to get to work. Good memories from Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah. Exactly. I've got no bad Saturday morning cartoon memories. None at all. Can't think of one bad cartoon. It's all good stuff. All right, and with that, we're going to head on out of here. Check the links. Go to the Fandom Power Podcast channel. Pick something to watch. You're not going to be disappointed. Check it out. And with that, we'll say,
have a great weekend, everybody.